Your doctor checked your thyroid, checked your iron, maybe even ran a full hormone panel. Everything came back normal, but you're still exhausted at 10 a.m., wired at midnight, craving sugar like your life depends on it, and storing fat around your belly no matter what you eat. Here's what nobody told you. The problem isn't what you're eating, it's when you're eating it, and how it's spiking a hormone that's quietly sabotaging everything. That hormone is cortisol. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact eating protocol that lowers it. Not by cutting calories, not by another restrictive diet, but by changing the timing and composition of your meals to stop your body from living in a permanent state of emergency. Stick around, because step 4 is the one almost nobody does, and it's the one that makes everything else actually work. Section 1. Why this isn't a weight loss diet. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't about eating less. In fact, eating less is often exactly what's keeping your cortisol high. Cortisol is your body's emergency hormone. It's released by your adrenal glands whenever your brain perceives a threat, and your brain can't tell the difference between being chased by a predator and skipping breakfast, then drinking 3 coffees on an empty stomach. When blood sugar crashes, cortisol spikes to release stored glucose and keep you alive. That's useful once in a while. But if you're doing it every single day, skipping meals, riding sugar highs and crashes, training fasted, sleeping badly, your body starts treating low blood sugar as a constant threat. Cortisol stays elevated, and chronically elevated cortisol does specific, measurable things to your body. It breaks down muscle for fuel. It tells your fat cells, especially around your abdomen, to store more. It disrupts sleep, which raises cortisol further the next day. It's a loop, and the way out isn't willpower. It's structuring food in a way that tells your nervous system, we're safe, we have enough, stand down. Section 2. The 4 pillars of the protocol. Pillar 1. Front-load your protein and never skip breakfast, but not for the reason you think. The first hour after waking is when cortisol is naturally at its highest. That's normal. It's called the cortisol awakening response, and it's supposed to help you get out of bed. The problem is when you skip food during this window and go straight to coffee. Caffeine on an empty stomach during a cortisol peak is like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already burning. Instead, eat a protein-forward meal within an hour of waking. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or even a protein shake with some fruit. This blunts the cortisol spike and stabilizes blood sugar for the rest of the day. Aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of protein at this first meal. Pillar 2. Stop the blood sugar roller coaster. Every meal needs fat, fiber, or protein before the carbs. This is the single highest leverage change you can make. When you eat refined carbs alone, a bagel, cereal, juice, a muffin, blood sugar spikes fast, then crashes hard about 90 minutes later. That crash triggers a cortisol spike to bring sugar back up. You feel it as shakiness, irritability, or sudden hunger. The fix is simple. Never eat carbs naked. Pair them. Oatmeal with nuts and Greek yogurt instead of oatmeal alone. Fruit with nut butter. Rice with protein and vegetables. The fat, fiber, and protein slow digestion flatten the glucose curve and prevent the cortisol rebound. Pillar 3. Load up on magnesium-rich foods. The mineral most people are quietly deficient in. Magnesium is directly involved in regulating the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is the system that controls cortisol release. Studies have linked low magnesium status with higher cortisol and increased stress reactivity. And here's the issue. Modern soil depletion, high-stress lifestyles, caffeine, and alcohol all increase magnesium loss. The foods to prioritize: pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, spinach, Swiss chard, black beans, and dark chocolate. Yes, actual dark chocolate, 70% or higher. Aim to get magnesium-rich foods into at least 2 meals a day. Pumpkin seeds on your salad, a handful of almonds as a snack, spinach blended into a smoothie or sautéed as a side. Pillar 4. Use adaptogenic foods strategically. And this is the step almost nobody implements. Adaptogens are a category of herbs and foods that help the body modulate its stress response. They don't sedate you. They help regulate the amplitude of your cortisol response, blunting spikes and supporting recovery. Section 3. Meal timing, the part that changes everything. Here's where most people get it wrong, even when they're eating the right foods. They eat at the wrong times relative to their cortisol rhythm. Cortisol naturally follows a curve, high in the morning, gradually declining through the day, lowest at night to allow melatonin and sleep to take over. Most modern eating patterns do the opposite of what this curve wants. Heavy caffeine first thing, skipped or tiny breakfast, light lunch, then a massive dinner late at night. This pattern keeps cortisol artificially elevated during the day from blood sugar crashes, and then spikes it again at night when a heavy carb-dense meal close to bedtime raises blood sugar, which then crashes overnight, waking you up at 2 or 3 a.m. with your heart racing. Sound familiar? The fix. Shift your eating window earlier. A substantial breakfast, a real lunch, and a lighter dinner finished at least 3 hours before bed. If dinner is your biggest meal and it's late, try flipping the structure for 2 weeks. Bigger lunch, lighter dinner, and pay attention to whether you start sleeping through the night without waking up starving or wired. Section 4. Putting it together. A sample day. So what does this actually look like? Wake up, and within an hour, eat eggs with spinach and a piece of fruit. Protein, magnesium, and fiber-paired carbs all in one meal. Mid-morning, if you want coffee, have it now, after food, not on an empty stomach. Lunch is your biggest meal. A protein source, a complex carb, vegetables, and maybe pumpkin seeds on top. Mid-afternoon, a handful of almonds or a square of dark chocolate if cravings hit. Dinner is lighter, protein and vegetables, smaller portion of carbs, finished early. In the evening, a cup of tulsi tea instead of that second glass of wine or late night snack. That's it. No calorie counting, no food groups eliminated. Just structure, pairing, and a few targeted additions. Section 5. What to expect. This isn't a 3-day fix. The HPA axis recalibrates over weeks, not hours. But most people report changes in the first 1 to 2 weeks. Less of that 3 p.m. energy crash, fewer sugar cravings in the evening, and, often the first thing people notice, actually sleeping through the night instead of waking up at 3 a.m. with their mind racing. So here's your action step for today. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just do one thing tomorrow morning. Eat a real protein-containing breakfast within an hour of waking before any caffeine. That single change is often the one with the biggest immediate effect on how you feel by 2 p.m. If you found this useful, subscribe. Because next week, I'm covering the specific sleep position and evening routine that can lower cortisol even further, and it connects directly to everything we covered today. And if you've tried any part of this protocol already, drop a comment below and tell me what changed for you. I read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to see to finally figure out what's been going on with their own body.